Okay. Yes. So we're going to hi, welcome, welcome to the show. I was just setting everything up, and so now what we're going to do is welcome to the show, and I was just getting things set up behind the scenes. So welcome to the show, and we're excited to talk about technology and what's coming up at CES in 2026. There's some great things that are coming up, and we did some things on our previous shows where we talked about the different aspects of networking at large events like CES. So you can check out and check out our previous live streams and our podcasts. This is our 10th episode, so welcome to the Sin City Pixel KO of Vegas podcast. I'm David, and we're going to go over some exciting things that are going to be coming up and giving more previews of CES. So we did some things on CES last week. A few weeks ago, we did some things on how to network at large conferences like CES. So make sure you like, subscribe, and so you can get notified on our newest podcasts as they come out. So what we're going to talk about this week is really exciting and what they're doing at CES this year. So what they're doing and welcome to Digital Marketing Monday. What they're doing at CES, they completely changed CES. It's really insane what they're doing. So we're going to talk about what they're doing for 2026. Forget this. Forget everything you think you know about CES. The endless halls of gadgets, the slightly better this year TVs, the phone cases, every color imaginable. That's the old CES. Right now, because in 2026, they completely changed the game. And over the next few minutes of this podcast, I'm going to show you why this is the biggest and most important evolution in the event's history. This isn't just a new coat of paint. It's a tear down to the studs, rebuilding the most influential tech event on the planet. For decades, the Consumer Electronics Show has been a beautiful, chaotic, but predictable beast. you know, and it was a beautiful, chaotic, and it was predictable. We have to be honest. Every January, the tech world would descend on Las Vegas, and we basically knew the script. We'd see bigger, thinner, brighter TVs. We'd see laptops that were a few percentage points faster. We'd see smart home gadgets that promise to revolutionize how you make toast. It was a spectacle of iteration, a showcase of what? What can I buy this year? What's the new shiny object? And we loved it for that. It was fun. It was a treasure hunt for the coolest, weirdest, and most wonderful gadgets you could find. But underneath the surface, a disconnect was growing. The most important revolutions in technology weren't happening at the product level anymore. They were happening at the foundational level. The real earth shaking changes weren't in the new smartphone, they were in the artificial intelligence that powered its camera, the advanced silicon it ran on, and the global supply chain that built it. CES was showing us the leaves while the roots of technology were growing deeper and more complex somewhere else entirely. That is until now. CES 2026 is the year the script was thrown out. The organizers, the Consumer Technology Association, have finally shifted the entire focus of the event. They have recognized that the most important uh, part of consumer electronics won't be the things that you hold in your hand, but the invisible foundational platforms that will build our entire future. They have created a new center of gravity for the show, a place where the conversation is not about the next product cycle, but the next 2 decades of human innovation. It's called the CES Foundry, and it is the single biggest sign that CES has grown up. It has transformed from a gadget show into a platform for architects of tomorrow. And today we're going to break down the 5 biggest signs that prove CES is a completely new event and why this change is the most insane and important thing that happened in the tech industry in years. So it's not a gadget show anymore. And we're going to talk about the first thing you have to understand is the philosophical shift. It's a big one. The core identity of CES for over 50 years was about the end product. It was a retail focused show. companies came to the show off the physical items they hoped to put on shelves by Christmas. The keynotes were often from companies making the TVs, the cars, the phones. It was, by its very name, about electronics for the consumer. But the tech landscape of 2026 is profoundly different. The most valuable and impactful companies in the world right now aren't necessarily the ones making the final product. They're the ones building the foundational layers that everyone builds on top of. Think about it. The most exciting developments are in the generative AI, in large language models, in industrial simulation engines, in robotics, and even in the mind bending world of quantum computing. These aren't gadgets. You can't put together a large language model in a display case. You can't unbox a quantum algorithm. For years, these foundational technologies were at CES, but they were siloed. They were in private hotel suites, in B2B focus halls, or discussed in technical conference tracks separate from the main show. The main show floor was still about the spectacle of the physical. CES 2026 is the year that finally flipped. The foundational layers have come out of the back rooms, have become the headline act. The central thesis of this entire video is this: CES has pivoted from being a showcase of consumer products to a global stage for the foundational platforms that will define our future. This is the new hero of the show. Is not the shiny new laptop. It's the AI that will design the next generation of all laptops. It's not the new electric car. It's the digital twin technology that lets manufacturers perfect that car before a single piece of metal is stamped. And the proof? The physical manifestation of this change is the CES Foundry. For the first time, CES has created a dedicated, high profile home for AI and quantum innovation. It's hosted at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, a sleek, modern venue that feels less like a trade show, more like a summit for the world's most important technologists. This isn't just a branding exercise, it's a statement of intent. The CTA is saying this is the new heart of the show. This is where the future is actually being written. Walking into the Foundry is going to be a totally different experience. The noise of the main convention center is replaced by a focused, intense atmosphere of high level discussion. It's going to be a place where venture capitalists, government officials, industry leaders, and the sharpest minds from tech will gather. They're not here to see a new drone. They're here to understand how AI is going to rebuild the global supply chain, how quantum computing might one day cure diseases, and how to build the ethical frameworks to govern it all. This is the new CES. It's less about consumption, more about creation. It's no longer just showing us the future. It's inviting the world's best to come and build it right here. And there's going to be the Foundry is going to be the new heart for CES moving forward. To really get the size of this change, you have to look at the structure of the Foundry itself. This just isn't another hall with a fancy name. By moving this cornerstone event to the Fontainebleau, the organizers created a psychological and physical separation from the main convention center chaos across the street at the convention center. It signals what happens here is different. It's more focused, more curated, and frankly, more exclusive in its subject matter. This is not the place for casual gadget tourism. This is the venue for deep engagement with the technologies that matter most. The Foundry is built around two distinct stages, and their names tell you everything. First is the CES Foundry stage. This is for the big picture. It hosts fireside chats and strategic discussions about the future of AI, its impact on society, and the heavy lifting ethical questions we need to answer. Think of it as the strategic command center. It's a recognition that technology is no longer a niche industry, but the primary driver of geopolitics, economics, and culture. Then you have the CES discovery stage. If the Foundry stage is the why, the discovery stage is all about the how. This is where the theory meets practice. It's for demos, pitch competitions, and real world use cases. This is where you see how an AI model is being used to optimize a factory floor, how a quantum sensor is providing new kinds of data, or how a creative agency is using generative AI to produce work that was previously impossible. It answers the question, okay, that sounds amazing, but what can it actually do today? This two-stage structure is brilliant. It creates a perfect flywheel of innovation. You can attend a session on the main stage and hear a mind bending vision for the future, then walk over to the discovery stage and see a company demonstrating the first steps of that exact vision in action. It's a continuous loop of inspiration and application. Beyond the stages, the Foundry is designed for connection with networking lounges and a huge emphasis on bringing together a specific mix of people: the visionaries, the disruptors, the investors, and the global leaders. The official description calls it a place where real ideas turn into real world impact. This is CES acknowledging its role as a nexus for deal making. But a container, instead of just having it containerized, and it's just being for a deal container just for smartwatches. The deals are being sparked at the Foundry are strategic partnerships build national AI infrastructures. It's completely different. It's completely different, and it's completely different now, and it's going to be something where it's a completely different scale in its ambition. The Foundry, in essence, is a CES creating a curated ecosystem for the builders, not just the sellers. It's a bold declaration that the most important conversations in technology now deserve their own dedicated, purpose-built home. And now we're going to talk about the AI revolution take center stage. And if the Foundry is the new venue, then the keynotes are the headline acts that confirm the show's new direction. And at CES 2026, the biggest speakers aren't going to be just from companies known for making consumer gadgets. They are the leaders of the new industrial and foundational technology revolution. This choice is deliberate, and it is powerful evidence that CES is now about the industrial and enterprise application of technology first. Take the headliners. You have Dr. Roland Busch, the president of and CEO of Siemens, a global industrial giant. His keynote is explicitly how AI and digital twins are creating a new era of intelligent production and transforming manufacturing. Then you'll have Dr. Lisa Su, the chair and CEO of AMD, a titan of the high performance silicon that powers the AI revolution from the cloud to the enterprise. The message couldn't be clearer. A company at the heart of global industry and a company building the core hardware for AI are standing on the main stage of the Consumer Electronics Show to say that the future is industrial AI. The synergy between these keynotes is the entire story. You have companies like AMD building the foundational AI engine and companies like Siemens using that engine to reinvent global industry. This is the new partnership that defines the cutting edge. It's not about a software company partnering with a phone maker anymore. It's about AI platform companies partnering with the titans of industry to rebuild the physical world. This focus is reinforced by the presence of NVIDIA. Well, not giving the keynote this year, it was last year. Their technology is the engine behind so much of this industrial shift, and their partnership with Siemens is a core part of the story. It's all about platforms like NVIDIA Omniverse, which allows companies to build and operate digital twins of their factories. Let's simplify that because it's a critical concept. Imagine you're a car company. Before digital twins, to test a new assembly line, you'd have to physically shut everything down, reconfigure multi-million-dollar robots, and just hope it worked. It was slow, inexpensive, and incredibly risky. With a digital twin, you have a perfect physics accurate virtual replica of your entire factory running in a simulation. You can test a new process 1,000 times in the virtual world. You can have an AI optimize the workflow. You can train your robots in the simulation before they ever get deployed. Only when it's perfect do you implement it in reality. This is a major improvement. It's a complete paradigm shift in manufacturing, and it's being driven by the platforms showcased by companies like Siemens and their partners. This is the real story of AI in 2026. It's not just about an app that can write a poem for you. It's not about AI that can it's about AI that can redesign a jet engine, manage a city's power grid, and help operate the robotic factories of the future. By putting these industrial applications at the absolute center of its programming, CES has made a definitive statement. The biggest consumer of electronics is no longer you, it's industry itself. That's something very to really to remember. So we want to make sure that you remember to like and subscribe, and welcome, and make sure that you like and subscribe to the show. Welcome to the Sin City Pox Pixel KO show, and we'll just keep moving forward. So make sure you like and subscribe. And a tech event is even defined who shows up. For years, the halls of CES were packed with tech journalists, retail buyers from places like Best Buy, and gadget fans. But if you look at the full list of keynote speakers for 2026, you see a dramatically different profile at this year's CES. The audience has changed, and that tells you everything. The most stunning example, Caterpillar. Yes, Caterpillar, the company that makes giant yellow bulldozers and excavators, has a keynote spot at the Consumer Electronics Show. Why? Because a modern piece of Caterpillar machinery isn't just steel and hydraulics. It's a sophisticated, sensor laden, AI driven, network connected platform. It uses advanced analytics for precision work. It has predictive maintenance alerts powered by machine learning. And it's a critical part of a connected construction site. Caterpillar isn't at CES to sell bulldozers to you and me. They're here to be part of the conversation about industrial Internet of Things, enterprise AI, and the future of smart infrastructure. Their presence is a massive signal. And the list goes on. You have Lenovo, a consumer electronics giant, but their keynote is happening at the Sphere to discuss how AI is reshaping how we live and work. You have Havas, a global advertising firm, discussing how AI is transforming creative industries. And then you have a special live podcast featuring executives from McKinsey, a top management consulting firm, and General Catalyst, a major venture capital firm. This is the new ecosystem of CES. It's not just manufacturers and retailers. It's the consultants advising the Fortune 500 companies on AI strategy. It's the ventures capitalists funding the next generation of foundational tech. It's the industrial giants who are now, for all intents and purposes, tech companies. They are the new target audience. This is further proven by the dedicated conference programming. CES 2026 features an entire new manufacturing track. The sessions aren't about consumer trends. They include talks like a fireside chat titled Charting the Future, Manufacturing Innovation and America's Competitive Edge. This is a curriculum for the modern industrial leader, teaching them how to integrate technologies from the foundry into the actual operations. The conversations happening in the hallways are no longer just about secret screen resolution or battery life. They're about optimizing logistics networks and building resilient supply chains. The people having these conversations are not the gadget bloggers of yesteryear. They are the COOs, CTOs, and heads of major innovation from every industry on the planet. The major industry on the planet. The quantum revolution is being demoed, not just debated. For years, quantum computing was the ultimate over the horizon technology, fascinating, but always seeming a decade away from any practical use. So, if you want the single most shocking sign of how much CES has changed, it is this. Quantum computing is not only a central theme of CES 2026, it is actively being demonstrated on the show floor. Let's quickly demystify this. At its core, quantum computing uses the bizarre rules of quantum mechanics to process information in a fundamentally new way. This gives these machines the potential to solve certain problems that are mathematically impossible for even the most powerful supercomputers we could ever build. We're talking about discovering new materials, creating life, saving drugs by simulating molecules, or breaking down complex cryptographic codes. The fact that this technology now has a dedicated home at the CES Foundry is, by itself, a monumental shift. It signals that quantum is starting its transition from pure science to applied engineering, but it's the companies that really tell the story. Take D Wave Quantum. They are a sponsor of the Foundry and are here with a powerful message. You can start using quantum computing to get business done, to get business value today. Their vice president is giving a masterclass not on quantum physics, but how to apply their systems to solve real world commercial problems in manufacturing and supply chain logistics. At their booth, they're showing they will show interactive demos of their systems in action. The message is clear. Quantum is moving out of the research lab and into the enterprise. Then there's Quantum Computing Inc., or QCI. They're making their debut at CES with the mission to prove quantum is ready for the real world. Their CEO put it perfectly. People hear quantum and think it belongs in a lab. At QCI, we build quantum photonic systems that work in the real world. At their booth, they're running live demonstrations. At the Foundry booth, they're running live demonstrations of their technology solving practical problems, not in 5 years, right now. Perhaps, and most surprisingly, SuperQ Quantum is at the Foundry with the goal of becoming the ChatGPT equivalent of quantum, and they plan to use CES 2026 to release what they are calling the world's first B2C consumer-focused quantum app. The very concept is a game changer, representing the first attempt to bridge the gap between one of the most complex technologies ever conceived and the ordinary user. When a technology this profound moves from university whiteboards to a trade show floor with multiple companies offering commercial systems, live demos, and even consumer-facing applications, it represents a tectonic shift. It proves that the new CES is no longer about showing you the polished, finished product. It's about showing you the revolutionary building blocks, even ones as complex as quantum computing, that will construct the world of tomorrow. Let's go behind the hype. Let's talk about the rise of standards and ecosystems. There's one final, more subtle sign that points to the maturation of CES. It's the growing conversation around standards and frameworks and ecosystems. The old CES was a battleground of proprietary formats. It was about one company's product winning against another's. But foundational technologies like AI and quantum can't flourish in that environment. They are too complex and too important. For them to scale safely and effectively, you need collaboration. You need rules of the road. This is why the focus on creating frameworks is so significant at CES 2026. This isn't a flashy topic, but it's critically important. Across the show, there's going to be programming dedicated to the technical and ethical guardrails for AI and protocols for interoperability. It's an acknowledgement that the move fast and break things ethos is dangerously irresponsible when applied to foundational AI or quantum systems. The focus now is on move carefully and build things together. The discussions are about building a stable, secure foundation upon which everyone can innovate. NVIDIA is a perfect example of this ecosystem first approach. Their success isn't just from selling powerful chips, it's from building the CUDA software platform, a development environment that became the de facto standard for AI research. They built an ecosystem and allowed an entire industry to flourish on it and help out and help it become the model of the future. Similarly, the Omniverse platform isn't a closed product. It's a collaborative environment designed to be built upon partners like Siemens and countless others. The foundry itself is designed to be a catalyst for this ecosystem building by bringing together startups, established giants, investors, and policymakers. It creates the fertile ground where these collaborative discussions can happen. The goal is no longer just to showcase a finished product, but to foster the partnerships needed to build the next shared platform. Think about the history of technology. The biggest leaps forward happened when standards were established. The internet took off with TCP IP. The web exploded with HTML. The conversions happening at CES and the partnerships being formed at the Foundry are aiming to create the same kind of standard foundation for the age of AI and quantum. The shift from products now, the shift from competing products to collaborative ecosystems is the final definitive proof of the new CES. The show is no longer a simple marketplace. It has become a constitutional convention for the next era of technology. This is a massive shift, and it's happening faster than anyone realizes. The technologies and conversations happening at the Foundry this year will define the products and services we all use for the next decade. It raises huge questions, and I want you to know, and I want to know what you think. What part of this transformation do you find most insane? Is it the industrial AI revolution? The fact that quantum computers are being demoed live? Or is it that a company like Caterpillar is now a keynote player at CES? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're on multiple channels. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on X. So wherever you can find us, you can just let us know in the comments. We'll try to read all the comments that come in. And this is a very important conversation that we all need to have. So we'd be happy and very welcome to hear what your thoughts are. So, so has CES completely changed? The evidence is overwhelming, and I think the answer is yes. This isn't the gadget show of our youth anymore. The creation of the CES Foundry as a new center of gravity is for a new center of gravity for us is helping change the future. And this is not just a gadget show of our youth anymore. The creation of the CES Foundry for a new center of gravity for AI and quantum is a statement of purpose. The choice of industrial and AI leaders from Siemens, AMD, and Caterpillar as keynote speakers has redefined the show's core message. The influx of new attendees, from industrial giants to VCs who are architecting the future, proves that the audience has evolved. The shocking, tangible presence of a burgeoning quantum computing industry, complete with commercial demos and consumer facing apps, shows a focus on deep foundational technology. And the crucial behind the scenes work on standards and ecosystems points to a new era of collaborative building, not just competitive selling. CES 2026 is the moment the tech industry's premier event finally caught up to where the true innovation is happening. It has transformed from a mirror reflecting the consumer products of the present into a lens focusing the world's attention on the foundational platforms of our collective future. It's more complex, more serious, and infinitely more important. The future is no longer just being unveiled at CES, it's being designed, debated, and built there. And that really is completely and wonderfully insane. And so, thank you so much for coming on this deep dive with me to listen about what's going on with technology and how it's converging and how 2026, as we're looking forward to 2026. So, thank you so much for listening, taking the time on this deep dive with me. If you enjoyed this analysis and you want to stay on top of the technologies that are truly shaping our world, consider hitting that like button and subscribe. And stay tuned and make sure so you can get notifications. And so turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next video. As we starting to grow and we starting to build this, your support really means a lot to us, and it helps us keep making content like this. So until next time, enjoy the holidays, Merry Christmas, and keep staying curious. And we'll see you on the next one. So this is David for the Sin City KO Pixel podcast and signing off. And have a great day. We'll see you soon.